Turns out there's a shortage of pot in Colorado. That's right. Not enough marijuana, not enough cannabis, not enough of the good green stuff, the ganja, you know what I mean? The Mary Jane, the Buddha, the Scooby-Doo. Well, you know what I mean. So you know what the deal is. Colorado just legalized marijuana, and everyone has to apply for a license in order to get a grow operation. Now, everyone knows there's already huge grow operations in the United States, in every state. Huge, acres and acres and acres of grow operations. But hectares, whatever you're used to. But they can't just switch them over to the legal operation. Now, can they? No, see, that's the problem. Everyone needs to have a license, and to get this license, you have to go through a very serious selection process. It's not willy-nilly like a lot of people think it might be. It's very serious. So this is kind of creating a problem because there's not enough pot, and people want it. Now, they're making up for these deficits by taking some of the medical marijuana that is being grown and using that to sell it recreationally. Now, this is filling a short gap in the hole. You know, this is plugging that hole a little bit, but eventually the hole's going to get bigger and bigger until people are going to need that pot. My solution, and a good solution, would be to legalize, to bring in these big grow operations, give full immunity and full kind of grandfather these people in to say that you don't have to face the same regulations upon entering as other people do because you already have a huge grow operation, you already have 15 acres of pot growing, you already have 8 acres, whatever the case may be, out in the woods, here, there, out in this farmland. You can become legitimized. You don't have to worry about prosecution. We will grandfather you in so you don't have to face the same regulations off the bat, but eventually you will. And then this will be able to stop this gap, stop the hole that is existing right now in Colorado where there's not enough pot for the demand. There's too much demand, not enough supply. And unless you're going to bring in cannabis from other states, which again, this is a problem because it's illegal in other states. So unless you're going to bring in medical cannabis from other states, again, this is all creating very big problems because transporting this across state lines is illegal in many cases, even if it's medical marijuana. Medical marijuana is not illegal in every state. You can't take your medical marijuana from California and take it to Pennsylvania and say, but I have my medical marijuana card. That's not valid. You can only do that in California now, or whatever state you're in with your card. So these are issues that are going to have to be dealt with, and you can't deal with them by having these we're going to slowly get progress. We need to fast track this now. We need to get these grow operations legalized so that we can get the pot to the people. That's what people need. They need their ganja. People don't just want to smoke their weed. You know, these shops, they don't just need a lot of weed just so they can, here's your eighth, here's your quarter, here's your 10 grams. Weed's a lot bigger than that. Frankly, when it comes down to it, a lot of these shops are going to specialize in creating ganja treats, which includes snacks, chocolates, cookies, cakes, oils, all types of edible ganja treats, which are delicious, and they get you really stoned. And that's what people like to eat, especially a lot of older people who are against the smoking part of marijuana, or people people who are just against the smoking in general, lighting something and putting it in your lungs, plant matter. You know, whether you believe it's toxic, cancerous or not, it's just the idea of putting burnt plant matter in your lungs can be somewhat, you know, hard to deal with for some people. So a ganja tree is a real kind of way to bridge that gap, and it's a great way to bridge a gap because somebody who's afraid to smoke something, you give them a brownie, you give them a cookie, you give them, you know, the oil to bake it into something, whatever they like, and they might have a wonderful experience with marijuana, and it's completely different way than the smoking way. So these are some of the things, this huge culture that's developing now in these states like Colorado and Washington. And Washington's going to be developing, and in Colorado is now. This huge culture that's developing around just cannabis culture, creating snacks, creating different ways to smoke, vaporizers versus bongs versus pipes versus steamrollers, there's all different types of ways versus eating ganja snacks. So what do we need in Colorado? We need to fast track these grow operations. We need to take these big giant grow operations that we know all exist. We all know they're there. So let's bring them into the fold and not have to wait and give them 50,000 regulations to squeeze them out, and only allow people who have a lot of money and a lot of investment capital at the beginning to get on the ground floor of this cannabis revolution that's taking place. We want to make this an egalitarian cannabis revolution.